Franklin Factor podcast. I'm your co-host, Danielle Weiss, and I am so excited to be joined today with our VP of Sales. She is over all of our agents in our retail division here at the Franklin team, Miss Rachel Allen. So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Excited to be here.
You are not new to the podcasting world, but new to our podcast. And why don't you go ahead and just give a brief introduction of how long you've been on the team, what your role is here, and then we can kind of dive into today's episode.
I am the VP of Sales Agents.
Yes.
Is essentially what that is. And I started with the team back in November, and it has been a really great experience thus far. So I am responsible for agent production, agent support, training, and all of those things.
Awesome. So today's episode, we're doing something really unique. So we were actually going to have you come in and do 2 different episodes, but I was like, wow, these really kind of overlap. And so what we're going to do is we're going to merge the 2. We're going to talk about growth and production for agents and how that happens here on the Franklin team. And then we're going to also kind of go over what does the first 90 days of any agent who's joining our team, what does that look like for them? So that's what we're going to dive into today.
Perfect.
So let's actually start with the first 90 days because I think that's just very much so any agent out there that's possibly thinking about or shopping around if they have production or if they're a new agent or if they've really hit a ceiling somewhere else. You know, we have recently changed the model to what our onboarding looks like and recruiting. So let's talk about first day on the job through 90 days. You know, if start from the very beginning, if I'm someone that just signed on our team, day 1, week 1, what does that look like?
So if you just started on the team, day 1, essentially, we welcome you to the team. It's a really exciting time to become a part of our Franklin team community. And the first 90 days is what is more like a probationary period, right? To see if it's a really good fit. What I find is that in most brokerages or teams, the training is more technical as like, okay, what are the contracts that you're supposed to fill out? You know, what do you do every day? How do you lead generate? And most places actually miss on true sales training. How do you have conversations? Are you really able to have those techniques to help convert prospects to actual clients? And so we really dig in that within the first, like as soon as you start, we're talking about that because what we want our agents to do is to convert almost right away and start selling right away. And so the first 90 days is you get kind of that runway to work with, but the first 30 days, we want you to do your online modules and training. But the best part about our training is that we actually have those opportunities for agents to come together, role play, and it's a community. And it's structured so that we actually work in different layers. You might have agents that we typically bring on agents every 6 weeks. So a new cohort of agents comes on. Okay. And while one agent cohort has kind of gotten their footing, they're starting to understand like some of the sales techniques, they're demonstrating, you know, how to convert. The new agent layer that's coming in, they're able to observe those things. And so it's kind of like a modeled layer of not just learning and practice.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. And I think it's going to be important.
Explain.
Yeah. And we essentially acquired this model from a very, very successful team in Canada with EXP that sells this, right? Because we looked at it as an investment to purchase this to then just plug it into the Franklin team and to brand it ourselves. And so what this allows, it gives you leverage to where we're not saying, hey, Rachel, you have to create all these models. You have to do all these like scripts and like come up with all these documents. Because I don't know about you, I have a ton of documents and scripts and all that. But it really does. It's a plug and play. So up front, we made the choice to invest a very significant amount in this, but it's going to give you so much leverage for these agents. It's a system every 90 days. But let's talk about that because I think, you know, the Franklin team we want agents that want to do this full time, and we are open to new agents. However, we want agents that actually can convert. And so sometimes people get into real estate and they're like, I want to be in sales. And then they get in sales and they slowly figure out that maybe it's not the right fit. But when I hear 90 days, that might scare me as an agent that is in production elsewhere. And I go, well, I love all the things about the Franklin team and the opportunity and the leads and the leverage and the support and the growth, but why would I join and go through a 90-day onboarding if I'm already up and going? So talk me through how you would share that in sale someone into joining if they have some production already and they don't want to be held back.
So that's why I prefer to describe it as more like an onboarding time frame. Okay. But honestly, you can complete the program in 30 days or less if you can demonstrate that you have mastered certain skill sets throughout the process. And so a more experienced agent could essentially go through it much quicker than someone who is absolutely brand new, never sold real estate before. But there is a place, it's the same program for anyone, because we also find that agents who may have been at other brokerages, maybe they've hit a ceiling or a wall, there's something that helps to spark or re-engage what they're doing, because I think essentially most people just want to learn and grow in their career. And so it's designed to help with that development of not just being able to do real estate sales, but how do you improve on becoming a better converter.
Okay. Let's walk through in those first 90 days. We obviously know that there's going to be some systems training. It's getting involved in plugging in, getting it onto our tech. So a lot of the listeners are going to understand that's a piece to it. Yeah. But talk to us about demonstrating it to a level of proficiency. What does that look like?
It's practice, right? So agents, if they come into, you're on stage and you have to perform. We don't want agents to go into their conversations with actual clients not knowing what to say. Okay. And so we normalize an environment where we're going to script, we're going to role play, and we can give that real-time feedback. So for example, this past week we did open house role play, and we had agents who, one, acted as if they were a client or a potential home buyer, and the other agent was the sales agent. And so we were able to see like what it looks like real time, some of the objections that came up, and then the agents that were observing the agents, they had to say like, what did that agent do well? Where could they improve? And so that for those agents that are observing, they're learning at the same time. Yeah. So it's not like everyone is like learning and practicing in these silos. It's a really great opportunity. And for one of the agents, it just like kind of clicked for him, because one of the things that was brought up in the role play session was the agent that was acting as the prospect said, I'm downsizing. He missed a key component of asking, are you, interested in selling your home? Tell me a little bit more about that side of it. And so, again, we as agents, we're here to provide solutions more than like sell. Yeah. And I think that's one of the key things we really work to reinforce with our agents.
Yeah. And what I'm hearing, and I would like to stress for the listeners, and especially if you are somebody in a leadership capacity for other teams, or maybe you're an agent and you want to grow, or you're trying to work towards a showing assistant or bringing on other agents, recruiting, is you're really fostering an environment focused around sales, yes. Not when you get a license, how do I do contracts? How do I do real estate? Well, let me tell you what real estate is. It's people. It's people oriented. And so what I love about that is you're diving right into that. And a lot of what I've seen in the past training is more so focused on calls, or contracts. How do you do this? But agents want to get in and they think, how do I do the contract? How do I write an offer? All of that is great. Yeah. You're going to have to figure that out at some point. Yeah. But you don't get the offer until you get the people. So I love
that you said that sales is not selling, it's people, because one of the habits that is the hardest to break is agents going into this thinking they have to sell something. And agents get so nervous about making those calls because they feel like they have to ask like for the sale. Conversion is not asking for the sale. It's about nurturing the relationship and really being able to build those relationships so you can hear for the pain points, right? And then being able to provide the solution. So that's a big part of what we talk about in our sales training, is like how to understand those pain points, and then like what are the solutions that our team offers, because we have like a 25-point value proposition. And so agents are learning how to talk about that in the context of whatever that client situation is.
Yeah. John Maxwell, somebody that I'm quite fond of, just his leadership stuff. It's the value.
Yeah. John Maxwell.
Okay, me too. John Maxwell, shout out to you. I wish I knew you, but it's more about value, right? Mm-hmm. It is about what is your value as an agent. And yes, if you're a great offer right or yes if you're a great negotiator. However, it is all about reading the room. It is about interpreting the needs of your clients. And so our onboarding the first 90 days, from what I'm hearing, it's a lot less of the teaching and it's more of the practicing. It's getting involved with the scripting and having conversations and getting more natural instead of so nervous about how to handle situations. So
yeah, and it encompasses all of it, right? So there is a teaching aspect of it. There's a conversation part of it. And also there's a scenario part of it, right? So as agents, and I do want to talk about this because you mentioned that 90 days. Do I need 90 days before I start working? No, that's not how it works. Okay. You start working from day one. So when agents come on, we initially ask them to, who are people in your sphere of influence? How do we start having conversations? And that's just how you structure conversations. How do you develop relationships? That's the practice you're getting initially. It's not to sell your family member and friends on real estate. I remember when I first started real estate, that's what we had to do. And it was so awkward. You had to pick up a phone hey, sister, just want to let you know, I know this sounds weird, but do you have to buy or sell real estate?
Yes.
And that's not what we want to do. It's more, we focus on our Ford framework, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. You're just picking up the phone and asking people, hey, how are you today? Because especially in today's society, we never do that anymore. So and it's just kind of the art of having conversation is where we focus. Once you get past that, then you're eligible to start getting more of our lead sources.
Okay. Two last things before we move on more to the growing in production for some more of the more mature agents or tenured agents. Talk a little bit about how the touch points go and the check-ins. You really said that this is a 90-day probation. So what does that look like? And then I'll ask you my second question.
Okay. So the program, again, it's one that is a bit online module learning. There is in-person or Zoom training as well as the practice aspect of it. Part of the training is that agents are required to show their level of proficiency on certain skill sets in what we call, it's almost like homework. We call them milestones. And so they may have to demonstrate that they can, go into a pond of leads and have conversation with these lead prospects for at least 2 minutes. Okay. How do you keep people on the phone? How do you have that conversation? Because one of the things that agents despise most about cold calling is the fear of rejection.
Yes.
So we actually don't care if you're able to convert them. It's just
keep them on the
phone. Keep them on the phone.
Yes,
what are you doing to just kind of shed that fear? Because when you get rid of that fear, you're just going to just start saying all the things. You're going to be more yourself.
I love that.
And then people are going to be able to connect with you more. So that's one of the milestones. We also, you have to show that you can demonstrate how to hold a really great open house. Can you do a CMA?
Right,
can you write a contract? So those are things that many agents, when they start doing the work, they get caught up in oh my gosh, how do I write a contract? Yeah. And they get really afraid when the time comes they're working with a client. You don't want to make the mistakes when you have an actual client. So we do all of the practice first.
Yeah, I love that. The milestones are the practical things. And I remember I helped out with a couple of milestones of, the presentation. It didn't really matter technically if the agent was right or wrong on what the CMA said, but it was did he demonstrate?
Yeah.
If I was just a seller and I just met with this agent from the Franklin team, did I understand what he was presenting? Did he walk me through that thoroughly, demonstrating that he was market knowledgeable and, guiding me along of where we should suggest list our house? So I love that. My last question in the first 90 days, right? What's the biggest mistake you see agents make in that first 90 days? If you could tell every new agent one thing going in, what would it be?
Don't be afraid to start and take action.
Okay.
Just go get it. You're going to do it wrong, and that's okay. Just go do it, make your mistake, and you're in this environment where it's very feedback oriented. So you're going to make the mistakes, but we're going to give you the feedback. We're going to have you do it again. And so you're practicing. I think so many agents that we've seen coming through our court, they're afraid to progress to the milestones, and so they're holding it off until the last minute. But the sooner you're able to get the feedback, the better you're going to get, sooner, quicker, faster. And so just start.
And I might get in trouble for saying this, but this is going to be a blunt comment. After my 12 years of doing this, you may agree or disagree, if you cannot swallow feedback, meaning if feedback is hard for you, or if that is not naturally your area of like, give me that, I'm wanting to grow, show me my blind spots, it is going to be a challenging industry for you to be in, because whether you like it or not, you're going to get feedback all the time from your peers, from people you're working with, from your clients, or your non-clients that you're not converting because the feedback is you're doing something wrong. So feedback is the breakfast of champions, right? And so I just want to say that somebody looking to join our team, regardless if you have some tenure or if you're brand new, like you said, we are creating an environment where it is normalizing feedback. So I love that.
And I'll say this, I'm an agent. I've been in this business for quite some time.
How many years?
15 years in the business.
Yes,
I've done over 300 transactions.
Yes, I should have had you give credentials. We will record that and make sure we get that in there. Go for it.
And I will tell you, I still make mistakes to this day. Yeah. You know, I had a contract that recently fell out, and it was one where it's, I don't want to say it's painful, but when I don't do things right, I force myself to go ask for the feedback, especially if a client was not happy with the result. I had this client, we went into contract, the contract fell out, and I was just really worried about how they felt about my performance for some reason. And I kind of went in and said, like, what did I do wrong? How did this not work out? And so when I actually went to them and had a conversation about what really happened, it wasn't even me. But it had more to do with just, you know, what I still was able to learn from the communication, some expectations, and there were some things that I know that I could do better next time around. But, you know, in real estate, there is never the same, like,
it is always
you're still
learning.
gonna run into things you've never ran into before. So
that's why I love this crazy industry.
yeah, it's always something different.
So now on the flip side, let's say you're a tenured agent and you're coming in, or you're a new agent, right? And let's talk about growing in production, because once the training, the onboarding is completed, or an agent is joining the Franklin team and they see the value in helping them get where they want to go, I find that a lot of agents that are finding that they're just hitting a ceiling. It's more so they have control so much, you can only do so much. And so when you join a team like the Franklin team, the systems and the leverage, the value to take you to the next ceiling or to even 3 or 4 more becomes limitless, essentially. And so what does the Franklin team, once an agent is up and running or they onboard, what is the continued support and leverage that they're getting from the team, from you, from our systems? What does that look like?
So we recently just launched our Elevate production groups. And so again, we have different levels of experience of agents, from brand new to been in the business for a long time. And, you know, they have experience under their belt. And so what we try to figure out is how we can bring value to any agent. So for the agent that's brand new, of course, they just need the accountability. And so if you have less than 10 transactions under your belt, that first group, we call it the foundations group, you're learning basic habits. Like, how do you really work on those habits that are going to help you with consistency when motivation is not there, right? Our second group, which is, you know, if you've done 10 to 20 transactions,
in a year.
In a year,
or in a
it's really kind of right now lifetime. Like if you've done at least 10 within 10 to 20, then we're focusing on systems. How are we really optimizing the systems that we provide and ensuring that you're able to do more with less time?
Because that is really true. Maybe not lifetime, but there does come this threshold of, I have seen it consistently. Agents go, okay, I did 25 last year. I want to double that. They cannot do it with the same systems in place. So it becomes more of a leveraging and how do I get more time back in my world to do the thing I do best, which is people and not the other things.
Exactly.
Okay.
So then our 20 plus like lifetime transactions, we are all of the things. It's still habits. It's still systems. But now we're looking more into people leverage. So how do you become a better leader? Because I think at the end of the day, you can have all of the systems, the computers, the software, the technology. You can use the Claudes and the Chat GPTs.
Yes.
However, at the end of the day, how do you duplicate yourself? So it goes into, you know, how are we also creating this environment that is mutually beneficial for our newer agents who can learn from more experienced agents by hosting open houses for them or being able to have showing assistance like when you need it, because I think that's where those agents that have difficulty going from 25 to 50, they can't duplicate themselves unless they are able to efficiently communicate their needs, create systems, show and train other agents how to do things as they would. And so that's the focus for that group. And I will say the Franklin team is a great place to be for experienced agents because the goal is for you to make as much money as you would in commissions, but with less time. And I will tell you, as an experienced agent who has been in the business for a long time, that scaling is quite difficult because you have to invest your own money and you have to wait for it to start working, and you're figuring things out along the way. But if it doesn't work out, then you're heavily invested and you still got to keep going, right? And so I think that's one of the things, and it gets tired, it gets exhausting.
Yeah.
And if you're in a time in your life where you might have kids and family, the goal is to have more time freedom, right?
Yes.
And so I think that's what we bring here for experienced agents.
How do you personally evaluate where an agent is in their production journey and what is the next step for them in their production? Like you were talking about, maybe it's something for this agent, but maybe it's something different. So how are you evaluating that as they're growing in their production?
I think it's just conversations with agents. Every agent has a different goal, and that's okay. I don't think that every agent has the desire to be the top producing agent because maybe they want to do enough for, to be able to cover their income. So we actually talk about that. Like, what are your goals? What are your dreams? Besides, what is your basic needs? Like, how do you cover paying your bills? And then what else beyond that? What are your goals? What are your dreams? Do you want to have a vacation? What does that cost? So we actually talk about that and we break it down into actual numbers so you can understand how much you have to do. And then we talk about what you have to do to get to that level of production.
I totally should have had you do this at the beginning, but this speaks to your credibility. Tell the listeners what all you're involved in, because I couldn't even probably really give you credit what all is on your plate. Sure, like sincerely, please tell them what all you're involved with, because I think that speaks to credibility of all of us have life hitting us from all different directions. We all have our own ways that we're looking at what we want out of our life and our time. So time is our most valuable asset. And so for somebody like you that's involved with
Women's Council of Realtors and the president of the Greater West
She's the president of the Western?
It's the Women's Council of Realtors, the Greater West Houston Network.
And clearly, I have no idea what that is, but okay, that's a huge commitment. What else?
The national chair for the Black EXP Network.
Okay.
And, prior to joining the Franklin team, I was a producing agent. I would do probably...
You still do production?
I do still do production. I'm working to figure that out exactly. But yeah, I'm still doing production because I've built, over this amount of time, I have clients that come to me asking for real estate help. And so...
Because how many times are you an Icon agent?
6.
6-time Icon agent.
6-time Icon agent. Something I'm very proud of.
And a wife and a mother to 2 young ones.
2.
And you're doing this full time, right? For how many agents on our team?
We have about 50 agents now.
And so I just wanted to make sure we speak credibility to that to me speaks to whether you're in production full time or not, you're having to adjust. You're having to evaluate how do I get to the next level and value my time. And say yes or no.
And I love that you brought that up because I think when we think clearly about the goals and what we want and how intentional we are about it, that's what kind of brought me to this space. I never thought I was going to join a team. I always thought that I would be the team and the team leader. But let me tell you, it is so much better when you don't have to do everything on your own. And I love everybody here, especially just the support from the leadership. There's so many great, I'm learning in this environment. And I feel like I'm in a place where I can grow versus having to support everyone else.
Awesome. I love that you just talked about that because my next question is, if someone's listening to this right now and they're considering joining our team, what would you want them to know that maybe they wouldn't find in our recruiting or on our website?
Oh, you're so much fun.
I have to agree.
Yeah, I think it's just, again, from the way we are not there's so many different ways you can construct a team, right? And I think that some people have certain preconceived opinions or notions about what a team actually is. And I think our team style is one that's systems and support versus like you have to fit this particular role or, you're not going to get, I've seen teams that really focus on, we want to keep you here. We're going to keep you in this box, right?
Here's how we do it right here. Mm-hmm. And you have to plug in here.
Right.
And we say, here are all the different, here's the soil that you can grow in.
Right.
You go plant whatever, we will help you grow.
Yeah. And so we really focus on being able to understand like what that agent's strengths are. Like maybe you don't want to do open houses. That's okay. We know that it's a great way to develop leads, but maybe you're more into social media. So let's think about like how we can support you. We have a full-time videographer that can help agents that really want to kind of lean into that space. It's not for everyone. So it's really just kind of figuring out what agent strengths are, where they want to go, and it's having those conversations because there is I feel like a career development path here, whereas some teams it's just like you're coming in, you're here to produce until you burn out and then you go. Yeah. Or until you figure like, okay, I can do this on my own. But we have some incredible producers on this team that choose to stay here because they understand like the value that we provide.
I was just doing a training with an agent this week. And so the whole conversation was the questions he was asking. We have a great relationship. I know that he is a fantastic agent. He's very experienced. He actually recruited me into this industry. But all of his questions were about, what do I need to do for you guys? Like, okay, how do y'all do this? Like, what's the requirement? What are the standards? And I was like, no. I was like, you tell us what you want and we will just kind of merge it. And so I think he was stunned at that kind of like, no, this, like you said, this playground is yours. Like we just have systems and marketing and support and leverage and runners and administrative people to help you elevate. He was shocked. He was like, wait, so you're going to do all this for me? I was like, yeah, when you wake up tomorrow, all that's done. He's like, wow. And so I just think that that's so true. And so I wanted to share that. So.
Yeah. And I love the fact that it gives you the ability to spend less time focus on the details of the things that you like have to do. And you have more creative room to like grow and figure out new things and explore new ideas.
Yeah. And a lot of agents join the team with experience because they've wanted to do things like that, but they can't. And so when they find, I can leverage the systems here to take care of all the things that I've been doing to go and try and do this new idea or this new market. But they've never had the time because they're so bogged down with some minimal things that our systems or leverage or team can do. So,
and the systems are everything. I will tell you that many agents, including myself, I didn't actually start using a CRM until maybe about year 7 or 8 into the business. And it changed the game for me, hands down. And so not just having the systems, but also having the guidance on how to use them appropriately and sharing best practices, because it's also a big part of being a part of the team is the ability to share ideas too.
Okay, well, if this has hit home today for you and you're just like mind blown and you are interested about learning more, Rachel, go ahead and share where people can reach out to you or follow you.
Sure. On Instagram, I'm Rachel the Houston Realtor. Pretty easy to find. Yes. And outside of that,
check out the team's website, reach out to us. Yeah. Rachel's pretty accessible. She's huge on social media too. So go ahead and give her a follow. We'll tag her handle below. Also, if you want to just learn more, we have a weekly informational session here at our office in Katy that you can come. We don't make you sign anything. It's very confidential if you're worried about somebody finding out you're coming, or reach out to us. Our president typically does those meetings. She'll come in and spend about an hour with anybody sharing more details about what are our splits, what are the systems, what are the marketing. We don't have the time here to share that. So check out that informational session here at the link below. And then lastly, we need your help. In an upcoming episode, we are going to be doing just a Q&A session on the podcast. So we need you to go submit some questions. Maybe it's crazy questions that you're scared about asking your friends in the industry. Maybe it's something specific. You want to know how the Franklin team operates or works. Maybe it's a specific struggle that you can't get around, an objection, but message us your questions. You can reach out to us in the ways below. Hashtag the Franklin Factor Podcast Q&A so we know what that question is for, and we'll be answering all of your questions sometime later this season on the podcast. So that's it for today's show. We do have some show notes below. We've linked some agent business plans there as well. They're templates that Rachel uses to onboard, to have conversations with agents to kind of figure out what are your financial goals, how do you get there, and how does that connect to your motivation about why you do what you do. So check those out as well, and thanks for joining us. Have a great day.